I wonder if I could rank all the instruments and my favorites and my least favorites. I'm very sorry to do this. It's on the screen right now. It's the guitar. The virtual guitar here in GarageBand has not changed since GarageBand version 2.0, which came out more than 5 years ago. And it's fine. Look, it's it's fine. It's fine. But it sounded like this, and it's had these functions for a very long time. They've added one thing, which is the retro wah in recent times, so you can at least play with a bit of a wah. But it's kind of clunky to actually use the wah. You do have some autoplay in here, which kind of works okay and sounds okay. So that can be kind of usable. And what I find the guitar is useful for is just getting some ideas down. So in particular, if I'm here in the chords mode, I can actually just sort of play around with some. And it just gives me an idea of what I might actually want to bring over into a track. But as far as actually using it in an end project, no. So again, even the D tier instruments can be used, and I'll use this very sparingly, but usually just as something to start a song or to get an idea down. Where it's really handy is when you're out and about on your iPhone and you want something to grab a bit of an idea down. And there's a bunch of different ways to add drums, and unfortunately the smart drums are just really long in the tooth. So smart drums, if you haven't used them, we've got 6 different drum kits here. You've got 3 electronic and 3 regular kits. We can just hit the play button here, and you can, it's actually a really great concept. You can get a really easy way to get a drum beat going on, right? And then you can record it in, and you're thinking, yeah, pretty cool, yeah. But here's the problem. Once it's in there, you'd think, oh, great, MIDI. I can edit MIDI. Well, guess what? In smart drums, you can't. You can't edit the MIDI. You can't change anything once it's already in there. So if you want to tweak something, you've got to delete it and start again. So apart from this nice little neon effect that they've got going on here, there's been nothing added to the smart drums in forever. So that's why they land, sadly, in the D tier here in GarageBand iOS. That's all for D. Let's jump up to the C tier, shall we? And starting off the C tier is the bass. Now the bass, again, it's almost made it up to the B tier, but it's down here in the D tier because the C tier, because it just, again, it hasn't been changed in a really long time. Now if you're going to use the bass, I actually love the P-bass sound is actually a pretty darn good P-bass sound. So if you just want to, again, get some bass ideas in, and you can either use the chords or... I actually like playing the instrument, and even though it's a C-tier instrument for its usability, it's actually fun to play around with. So I kind of like just working out some bass pattern ideas by just grabbing the bass here. So it could actually be a fun instrument and have a decent sound. The one thing that is probably the highlight of the bass here, and it's kind of hidden over to the side here, is the upright bass. The upright bass actually sounds pretty good, and I've legitimately used this in a few tracks. So if you're doing something a bit laid back, a bit jazzy, the upright bass can actually help you out there. So the bass is in the C tier. When I come in here and I try and play the regular drums, the acoustic drums, or you can choose one of the electronic drum kits or the percussion kits, I just find that the touchscreen in particular doesn't really... I can never get a good sounding drum. Like, it seems that I either hit it too hard or too soft, and I can't get consistency. So there are things you can do with this. Whenever I use the real drums, I always go to track settings and come in here to velocity sensitivity, either turn this to low or to off so that I can actually get a decent kind of drum sound. What it's good for is actually putting some drums in there that we can then, in fact, let's just undo that. I'm just going to put in a more regular drum beat because I'm going to show you something with another instrument later. I'll just put a little drum beat in there that's going to work. I hate to do this because these are probably the most fun instruments to play, and when they were added, the world instruments, I really enjoyed these, and I'm covering them again soon here in the 5-minute tips. But you've got things like the peeper. Turn those up a little bit so you can play. And again, you've got chords modes in these ones, which makes them a little more usable because we can actually auto-play something here. Which can be kind of fun. So you've got a bunch of different world instruments here too. So you've got the pipa, you've got the erhu, which is called the Chinese violin, which is something that a lot of folks use as a sort of violin substitute because we'll talk about it, but there's not great violin sounds here. We've got the koto, which is great for like doing flashback scenes, but not much else. If you were doing like some bring, and then Rip Van Winkle woke up. And then the guzhang, which is again, kind of the same thing. And look, am I biased because I don't create a lot of world music? And that's why I put these down in the C tier? Probably, because I just don't use them that much. I just don't find a heap of use for any of these instruments. I want to show you another little tip here. And this is a great for, you know how we talked about the flute and the clarinet and the oboe before? If you want to play your world instruments, you can even use them here. So say you want to use the erhu for a bit of like a violin sound. We can actually play it using the keyboard, which is a heck of a lot easier than using the interface there. Should we get into the B tier? This is where we're going to start talking about instruments that I really love, that I really dig, and that is the wind instruments. Now, you might be saying, Johns, I don't see wind instruments anywhere in here. Well, yeah, they're kind of hidden. They're a secret source of GarageBand iOS. Where we find them here is under keyboard into more sounds, and if we scroll down here to our other, check it out. Flutes, clarinets, oboes, bassoons, and even some French horn and brass ensemble. These sound great. I've used the oboe. If you've heard my song Drinking With You, that uses the oboe and the clarinet. The oboe sounds great. The clarinet is actually punching above its weight for a digital instrument. And if you want to add a little bit of bass that's a little more subtle than using an actual bass instrument, using the bassoon can actually be cool. So let's come in here and add a little bassoon part. There you go. In the B tier as well, the sampler. So the sampler just snuck into the B tier because it can actually be quite useful. Now, you've probably jumped into the sampler, hit the barking dog, and then gone, now what do I do? Well, you can actually sample in something. So if you hit the record button, so if we come to our input here, and we just grab my microphone input, you can actually sample in your own sound. If we turn the monitoring on, hello, hello. All right, let's sample something. Burp. I don't know what that noise was. So yeah, you can use your own sound, and don't forget you can also import. So a lot of folks forget that you can actually import your own sounds into the sampler from your files, or you can import any Apple loops and split them, cut them, chop them, do your own thing with them. And something that I use, and you probably use if you're a guitar player, if you're a vocalist, you're using this all the time, and it's your audio recorder. And the cool thing, one of the reasons I love GarageBand over and above other digital audio workstations is the simplicity of the grab and go with GarageBand, such as when you're coming in here and you want an audio recorder track, you hit the voice and you've got a decent sounding lead vocals. If we turn this on and we go to channel 2, where we're plugged in here, check, 1, 2. We've got a decent sounding straight off the bat. Or if you want a bit more of a, radio ready with a little bit of pitch control, or some punchy presence, if you want something that's got a bit more compression, you can either go for like some chorus effect in here. Let's go with the chorus effect. So what I'm saying is all these presets are actually great. And it's not only for vocals. You've got acoustic guitar, you got keyboards, you got some fun sounds there, like your robots and whatnot. But yeah, it just starts you off. And I think especially for folks starting out with GarageBand, it means you don't have to spend a lot of time dialing in a lot of settings. I never thought I'd sing a song like this. So you can see there that we've recorded in, and the quality you get straight off the bat. I never thought I'd sing a song like this. And obviously that's putting the chorus on there, but if you just wanted the straight lead vocal sound, I never thought I'd sing a song like this. And it can work really well. So it's just a simple way, as opposed to other DAWs where, you dial it in as clean and then you've got to have your own compression settings and just having all these right here. And you do have the option to come in here, go to your plugins and EQ and really hone it in, dial it in, add in your own plugins, add in your own EQ, add in external plugins. So it's not that you can't do the complicated stuff, but the fact that I can plug in my acoustic, press the big acoustic guitar button, and it gives me a decent acoustic guitar recording without any effort, I think makes the audio recorder slot nicely into the B tier. Probably something that people play around with the most because they are probably, in my humble opinion, one of the most fun instruments to play with, because who doesn't love flicking their finger up and down? If you're not sure what I'm doing there, you tap and hold and go up and down, and you get cool sounds. Now you can change it. You can have either just the the low down, the cellos and the basses, which is great for sort of atmospheric stuff, or you can use just things like your violin. And you could go to notes mode as well and play it like a real violin. The Simpsons, including doing cool things like tapping down here on the bridge. For some pizzicato, you've also got the ability to do autoplay, which everyone's probably heard a lot of these autoplays, but yeah. In fact, let's just record in a little bit of string. See if this works with this track. I never thought I'd sing a song like this. Let's try a different autoplay for this. I usually say, hey girl, 5 times or 6. Okay, didn't really work for that second part. But yeah, you can see here that the strings are fun, bloody fun to play with. In the A tier, I start with the beat sequencer. I love the beat sequencer. It's a great way to make drums. I've done a video on it recently. Check the channel to see my 5-minute guide to the beat sequencer. Why is the beat sequencer so good? Well, you can choose all the kits. Unlike your smart drums, you can choose from any kit you like the scientific method there, or even percussion. So let's get some pots and pans in here. And you've got complete control over all of the steps. It's a step sequence. I never thought I'd sing a song like this. So it's very, very cool. Beat sequencer, you can randomize it, you can change it, you can do a whole bunch of things. Heap of options in there again. Watch the quick video if you want to learn more about it. Also in the A tier is our Apple loops. Don't underestimate the power of Apple loops. You have literally almost 10,000 of them in here now. I think it's something like 6,000 at last count of Apple loops if you get all of the packs. And you can see, you can scroll through all of these and there's everything. There's MIDI loops, there's audio loops, there's drummer loops, there's percussion, there's bass, there's everything you can possibly think of, and you can search in the loops here to find something cool. So if we wanted to say grab something here that's going to be a hi-hat, we can just search for not hi-hit but hi-hat, and we can find like an 80s power hi-hat from the Oak Felder pack. This will work with our track. We just drag it in and you're done. So you can just easily bring in a bunch of cool sounds to put into your own tracks. The amp sims. I'm going to have to be very quick with this, but the amp sims, if you are a guitar player, do not underestimate the power that is the amp sims here in GarageBand. So you've got clean, distorted, and bass tones. I like a lot of them. When I'm making a new song, if I want to do something with some distortion in it, I usually just jump down here, throw on the power chord, because of course I do, because I'm a rock guy, and dial in, and then we're good to go. I never thought I'd sing a song like this. I usually say, hey girl, 5 times or 6. But as well as your your distorted tones, you've got crunchy tones here. You've got some cool processed tones like the Palace of Mirrors from the Tone Collection. So you've got that actually sounds epic. Let's bring that back in. I usually say, girl, 5 times or 6. So yeah, don't underestimate the power of the amp sims here. I'm going to include Alchemy Synth, and people might think, you're crazy, Johns. Alchemy Synth should definitely be in the S tier, but I actually don't use it a heap because I'm not a synth guy. But there are so many sounds here in the Alchemy Synth that you can play around with. So if you're in your keys, you'll notice you got keyboards, you got synths, you got all the other stuff. Alchemy Synth just has so many different sounds in here, especially for pads. It's amazing. And the cool thing is you can dial into your heart's content. So you can have a very basic sound, and you can use the XY pad here to adjust it, or you've got a whole bunch of things that you can actually change in here. And every one is different, and you can record in effects as you go through, and you've got pitch bends and modulation. And you could literally, I've done whole songs where I've just sat down and put 10 tracks on and chosen 10 different Alchemy Synth sounds and found something really cool in each of these categories. So there's a bunch of cool stuff you can play with in the Alchemy Synth. What is the S tier? What is the must-have go-to instruments that I use in absolutely every track? Well, it might be a bit boring with this one, but guess what? It's the piano. It's the keys, the key sounds that we have in here. And again, if we go back to our main categories and go to keyboards, and we go in here to our classical grand. Now, you might think, Johns, you said that the problem with the guitars is that they haven't been changed since the very start of GarageBand. The good thing about the classical grand is that this was a Steinway grand piano that they first sampled in like GarageBand Mac version 1, and today it still sounds amazing and it works really well. You've also got some great, you've got a whirly in here, you've got a classic organ, including everything such as the drawbars that you can play around with in here. The keyboard instruments here in GarageBand are legitimately next level and really fun to use. And the final, the ultimate, it's our drummer. Yeah, it's the drummer. So if you are creating a song, here's the thing that I recommend you do. Before you start anything, what I do before I start anything in GarageBand is I find my rhythm with my drummer. So you can use acoustic, percussion, or electronic again. I'm going to use acoustic here. There's our good old buddy Kyle. Look, everyone's heard the default Kyle, haven't they? But the cool thing here is that you can adjust this. You can make it louder, you can make it softer, you can make it complex, you can make it simpler. You can turn on to the drums, the toms, the cymbals, the hi-hats. You can add percussion here. You got sliders to just quickly change things. You control the amount of fills, and my favorite feature, which is the follow feature. So remember how I made that my own drum beat before using the Sunset drums here? Well, I can make the drummer actually follow that. So even though I didn't really like this beat, that's dialed in the beat. So that's what you could do. You could dial in a beat like that and then tell the drummer to play a better version of it, and then turn off your original drummer, and then you've got a drummer that's going to work with your track. I usually say, hey girl, 5 times or 6. There you go. That is the tier list here in GarageBand iOS. Everything from D to S. And yeah, let me know if you are watching this one. Let me know down in the comments below. What are your favorites? Was I right? Was I wrong?